What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another special edition of Let's Talk About It with my special, always expected, never appreciated guest, the creator of Krusty Karen, Game Father, CM Whip, and other phenomenal improv skits, and of course the ever amazing offer review, and quite frankly, flat out the most entertaining human being on Twitch, at least in my opinion. Mobile
Wow.
Gamer, welcome, brother.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. You're the best.
Oh, I forgot you're the breast. Damn it. I knew I was gonna leave one off, man. So I can't say thank you enough for coming on. Let's talk about it. I'd love I'd love to have you on Happy Hour, but at the same time, I personally, if I used to drink and didn't drink anymore, I would be very uncomfortable doing that type of show. So I was always hesitant to ask, and so this offered a great opportunity to get to hang out with you a little bit and sort of do this. So thank you again for coming on. Sort of just getting right into it. Wanted to learn a little bit about yourself, and I brought up Krusty Karen and Game Father and CM Whip, and those skits are so ridiculously entertaining, and I have such a good time watching them. I always get excited when people redeem. Like, did you do improv? Like, is that something that you used to do, like in school, or is it just something that you accidentally stumbled upon you were good at?
No, I did nothing like that. I'm just a very awkward person in general, and goofy as all get out. That's all I could. I mean, I have no idea, to be honest with you.
The Man, I just I don't know how you're able to come up. So I'm pretty quick witted, but I can't come up with an entire story all the time like that. I find it amazing. You know, the well harder you peasants to the Krusty Karen and throwing fits at Scopely headquarters. It's amazing, man. It's so amazing. It's so entertaining, and thank you.
Well,
Um,
to be honest with you, I'm only trying to entertain myself and to make, so that, when I'm streaming, I'm having fun. I'm literally just trying to make myself laugh and have a good time. I mean, otherwise, I'd get tired of it, right? So, I mean, my intention is just to entertain myself, and that's what I care about when I'm streaming, I suppose.
Man, well, you're knocking it out of the park. I know. So they always say, you should never laugh at your own jokes, but I laugh at myself all the time. I think I'm pretty funny, and if I think it's funny, I think other people will think it's funny. So I think you're right on, Mark. I don't know whoever said you're not supposed to laugh at your own jokes. I don't like them. Um, the so like wanted to learn a little bit about like sort of what got you into this. So I know obviously YouTube and Twitch wasn't your first career, but sticking to that, like what made you decide to start doing video games? Because you did, I know you did like a wrestling, you did a WWE game for a long time. You did Swuggo. I'm sure you've done some other games. Like, what made you decide to start content creating for these mobile games?
Uh, I've had a lot of roller coasters in my life, ups and downs, but there was a moment where things were down and I was actually unemployed, and I really didn't know what to do. And someone said to me, you do what you love, and the money will follow. And I kind of sarcastically said, well, I like playing video games and I like helping people.
Yeah.
And to and this was back in 2014. And so and that person responded to me, there's this guy named PewDiePie on YouTube that is doing exactly that. And I never really watched a lot of YouTube, but I remember watching Jenna Marbles and PewDiePie, and then there was a Wall Street Journal article about PewDiePie and how he was having a lot of success. And I was playing a game called Marvel Contest of Champions. The game had just come out. And I went and watched some YouTube videos of other YouTube creators making videos about Marvel Contest Champions. And I've actually talked to this person, and no offense to him, his name was W Bang, and he was making YouTube videos. And I think every YouTuber that's ever started has said this to themselves. I think I can do that. In fact, I think I can do it better.
Yeah.
And that's how you get started. And I think almost every YouTuber I've ever talked to, every streamer I've ever talked to, has said that I can do that. I think I can do it better. And then that just kind of launched me getting interested in doing YouTube. And I didn't have a lot. I mean, I was basically back in the day, it was an iPhone.
Yeah.
And I had a jailbroken iPhone. There was no OBS, there was no nothing. And if you have to jailbreak, I had to jailbreak my iPhone, and then you could use a screen recorder. There was no latent internal screen recorder on the phones at the time, so I literally was like talking into my phone and pushing the buttons on the screen, and you could on the YouTube videos you could hear the tapping of my fingers when I was playing the game, and I was using the microphone, and it was pretty low production, and that's where it started, right? There was nothing to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, so obviously it caught on. You did well, and then you came over. You came over to Twitch, and sort of the rest has been history. Wanted to talk a little bit about sort of the Envoy program, and not like in detail about the Envoy program, but had you been in with all the other mobile games that you've done? Had you been in similar programs before, or was this the first time?
Oh no, I see. Yeah, Galaxy of Heroes and community. Cerebro. His name is Nick.
Yeah.
Nick Huggett. He was actually the community manager for Galaxy of Heroes. So I've known him back as far as like maybe 2017, 2018. So I had worked with him before. Like I knew him pretty well. And so he was working for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and then he got a job for Marvel Strike Force, and he started the program. And I already knew him from before.
Okay, and so with that I know a lot of people have opinions about the Envoy program. I don't know that I to this day really know what the Envoy program is supposed to be. I look at it from an outside perspective. I look at the Envoy program and it's essentially, at least in my eyes, it's supposed to be a marketing engine for both the game and for the streamer. So like that's just my uneducated opinion on what the Envoy program is. And I think I know a lot of people use the Envoy program or look at the Envoy program as it's a tool to help the community and to help the game and to find bugs and stuff like that. And that may be what it is, that may be what it's become. But I'm curious your perspective on, is there anything in the Envoy program that you would like to see changed or different altogether?
Uh, so the my biggest gripe with the probably the Envoy program and the game in general is well, I think the biggest problem in the game is the needless amount of bugs and errors for the community
Yeah,
and just needless problems, and or whether that is character kits being wrong or busted
yeah,
on release, or if it's offers or anything. And I feel like a win-win solution for that would to be a proper test server,
yeah,
not only which they don't have, or when they do have it, it's late. Like the patch goes live and the test server is not
yeah,
available for 2 weeks. Well, that's completely useless.
yeah,
I'm talking about an actual test server that's in advance, like a week or so ahead of the game, or 2 weeks ahead of the game, or even a day ahead of the game. And I feel like that would be uh, a win-win-win from all three fronts. I feel like the community would benefit from that because they would have a better game that's less buggy. The developers would benefit from that where it's less buggy. And then thirdly, for selfish regions, that would give me access to information and content that I could make videos about.
yeah. And then and sort of about that access and content. Uh I feel like your gameplay in particular of Marvel Strike Force is a little underrated. And I get that you don't make a lot of the how-to guides. You're not like you've got Boylon and Dorky Dad that sort of go the how-to route, and even Purple Sticky and
Right.
Pathfinder Gaming. Like there's a lot of content creators out there right now that are fantastic and really doing a good job on the how-to. And so you don't really focus as much on the how-to, but your gameplay really sort of gets sort of swept under the rug a little bit, and people don't talk about you being as knowledgeable about the game as I personally feel that you deserve. Anything you'd like to say about that?
Uh, I don't know. I kind of feel like this is going to sound very strange. I feel like being smart at the game is a commodity, and there's a lot of people that can do that.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
all. That's just my opinion of it. There's a million people out there that understand every mechanic of the game, and that's relatively easy to come by.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know how familiar. Well, I mean, I think you're relatively familiar with Athame, but Athame, he doesn't do as much content creation anymore as he used to. But I love Athame to death, and it blows my mind that the dude literally has every character's kit memorized. Like
Okay.
literally, you can ask him the special on Shield Trooper, and he'll know word for word the detail and everything. Swarm, like any random off character, and I find that stuff just amazing that he's able to just spout that stuff off. So to your point, there are a lot of people that do it at varying levels.
Hmm.
And sort of last part of the little interview, little 101 here is I'm curious your general thoughts through your eyes and your experience on the state of the game for Marvel Strike Force.
Um, I feel like there's a lot of fatigue in the game right now, and I think a lot of that fatigue has been fueled by not only month-long events, but a current year-long event. And I just feel like a lot of people, it's exhausting, these events that require spreadsheets to understand and information coming out either incomplete or just wrong, or events being incomplete or just wrong. It's exhausting. I think like there's a lot of fatigue.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. The all valid points. I appreciate you coming and spending this time with us today. Gonna head over to our roundtable session. So that ends the interview here with Mobile Gamer. So Mobile
Woof.
Gamer, thank you so much. It's time to go over to roundtable, guys. I got to come up with a better transition, and it's time to go to this next scene.
It's effective.
All right, what is going on? Welcome back, everybody. So joining us today for our roundtable, again, we've still got Mobile Gamer here, coming from the content creator perspective, and I guess you're a whale, right? You're sort of in that baby whale, baby. I don't know, like late whale,
Or
baby
how much
kraken.
money
I
I
don't know.
spend? I spend $300 to $400 a month. You can call that whatever you want. I mean, I don't think I think for a lot of people, $300 to $400 a month is like Kraken status, but I don't think they understand how much money people can spend and do spend on this game.
Yeah, yeah. So speaking of Kraken status, joining us from the Kraken standpoint is none other than Sesi, also known in the Twitch community as the Sub God. Joining us live from California. Sesi, welcome, Sesi. And then from a very casual free to play experience, we've got none other than Mr. Samjus joining us today. And so thank you, Sam, just for joining us all the way up there in Canada. Thought about changing the title today to Let's Talk About It, but, you were
Not enough
outnumbered.
Canadians for
Yeah,
that. Not
not
enough
enough
Canadians for
Canadians.
that.
And of course, rounding out our panel is none other than MartMart, another member of our community here, represents the former spender. What do we call you?
Spender, I think you call
Yeah,
me.
reformed free to play. So you used to be a heavy spender, now you're free to play. So we got a variety of a player level here, in particular, sort of all over the board. And now MartMart's another one. He's not quite Viscera. He doesn't have 27 different accounts. He's just got two. He's got his main. Excuse me. He's got his main and a baby. And then today's conversation is going to be about legendaries in Marvel Strike Force. So the legendary characters that we've got in Marvel Strike Force and sort of that transition. So obviously with legendary, there's been a huge change. 2022 brought a huge change in what a legendary character is, right? So we initially had the legendary unlocks in the old method where you were either told these 5 random characters or these 10 random characters, you can use any of them to unlock these characters, and we were given, I don't know, about a month's notice, month and a half notice, when the legendary was coming out and what the unlock would be. And now we've transitioned into Scourges. And Scourges unlock these new legendary characters, and on top of that, they don't just take normal red stars, they take dark promo credits, and then on top of that, you now have the ability to buy legendary characters after they've been out for a period of time, or at least the Scourge legendary characters. So sort of want to talk about all of that. So let's sort of start at the top. So old unlock method versus new unlock method. I myself think the new unlock method is far more free-to-play friendly than the old method, with the exception of the red stars. Because dark promo credits aren't super easy to come by. So I'm sort of curious. Did y'all have a preference on the old versus the new? What if you did like the old? What did you like more about that? And let's sort of go around the table. MartMart, start with you.
Oh, maybe because it's the Scourge way of doing it now. It seems to be easier for me to complete the first time around on my main account. Of course, my main account maybe is just bigger now, so it's easier. But I pretty much do the level 6, no Scourges, and call it quits. I don't try to put too much past that. It's too much for my brain to handle. Now this last time with the minions, it was kind of hard until I learned from either your chat or Boomer's chat that there were 3 Scourges in there that not only helped their minions but helped your minions. So I didn't have to build my minions up as big as other people had to build theirs up to get through that first node.
All right, Samjus?
I think I prefer the Scourge way now, just because it's forcing me to actually start leveling characters I probably could or should be leveling. You know, obviously the minions is
Trash.
an outside factor here, but you know, it's. I find it's a bigger challenge too, right? Because you're kind of theory and crafting what teams you should bring in, what characters you should bring in. I think there's more. There's more gameplay involved with
Yeah.
Scourges compared to what there would be with just, okay, I just need these 5 characters to farm to unlock somebody at 5, and then it taking 3 months later, I can wait to hopefully get Omega Red back in to get him at 6 stars, you know?
Yeah.
But if I build up my teams enough for Scourge, I have a chance to start off with the 5 on the first run.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Sesi,
like
what
for
about
me,
you? Oh,
sorry,
sorry.
one like for me too. Like I'm MartMart to his point. I just do difficulty 7 to start, then I try one on 8, and then if I don't do it, I don't do it.
Yeah. For sure. Sesi, what do you think?
Oh, I like the Scourges better as an overall release method for everyone. It makes more sense to me. The problem is the time involved in the
Yeah.
Scourges. It's just kind of a nightmare sitting there, through having 400 some odd Scourges on, difficulty 8, trying difficulty 9, seeing what you can do as far as that goes. I mean, it's just a time suck, and
Yeah.
it kind of blows in that sense. I like it better for everyone, though, as far as the Scourges, because I think more people unlock the character. But at the same time, I mean, you're still looking at, $300 to $1,000 to get these characters and being able to use them in the Scourges, whereas before, it's $300, $400, $500 because it was only one team.
Yeah.
As opposed to now, you're dealing with building up 2 teams, and you have to have those 2 teams, it feels like. Especially for the higher difficulty as far as the Scourges go. So it feels more expensive, and it's more of a time suck, and that kind of blows. But it's better for everyone overall, I think.
Yeah. And MobileGamer?
So there's two factors for me. One is the process, and two is the accessibility. So if I compare the process of the old system versus the new system, frankly, the old legendary system was garbage and it was completely forgettable. There was
Yeah.
literally nothing to it. Do you remember unlocking Magneto? Absolutely, I do not. Like it was meaningless, lazy. You have the characters or you don't have the characters. Nothing about it felt like I earned him. It was garbage. It was basically they copied a system of another game, Galaxy of Heroes, and they somehow copied their homework and made it worse. It just not memorable. Yeah, not memorable at all. So if I compare the process of the old system compared to the process of the new Scourge event, now we have a Scourge event. Now, are there bad things about the Scourge event? Does it take a lot of time? Are there not, a lot of characters? But it's actually a memorable process.
Yeah.
Like you actually have to do it. And when you're done with the process, you feel like you got something done, right? So night and day. And then secondly is the accessibility. And what I'm talking about is like how many people were able to unlock the first time around Magneto when Magneto came out. What percentage of the community? I mean, there was this expression that I used to say all the time. There's no shame in unlocking a legendary character the second time around. Like, and a majority of the community was not getting the legendary characters until the second time around. And the Scourge event, even though it's challenging, and I mean, I feel like the complaints about the new Scourge system is that it's hard or that it takes a lot of characters, right? Which it should be. Like it's an actual legendary character. It should be hard. It should be a hassle. Absolutely. It should be something that you earn, right? But yet more people are able to get a legendary character the first time around, and most of the time they're very usable at all playable levels. I think that Morgan Le Fay, Rogue, and Red Hulk largely were playable at any star level, which is amazing for most of the player base.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of the Scourge process or of the Scourges themselves. The process, the chasing RNG, I'm not a huge fan of, but that sort of brings to the next point. Like some of these Scourges, like the idea that anybody is ever going to do the pestilence Scourge on level 10 max Scourge. Like, why would anybody ever do that? I don't understand why the Scourges were made in the way that they are. It seems like they put a lot of effort into making something unattainable at launch and no one will ever do just because. Does that make sense? And in regards to, like you mentioned earlier, like there's so many quality control issues, there's so many bugs, like, so it's like there was so much focus put on this one thing that so much else went by the wayside to an extent with the level of focus in sort of those top levels. But now, on top of so sort of setting Scourge aside, though, the transition from the red stars to the dark promo credits, how did that affect you? Start with Sesi on this one.
As long as you spend $100 every 2 weeks, it's pretty cool.
So you're do you think you're spending less on red stars or significantly more?
No. I mean, I hate the DPC dark promo system in general. I just think it's expensive, and I don't think it's generally worth it. But as far as red stars go now, I mean, I have like 50, 60 Elite Four saved up. I mean, it's to the point to where I can get what I want whenever I want, basically, for the red stars. So
As
from
long
a
as it's not
business standpoint,
legendary.
exactly. Or Zim, Dead Tony,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I still don't have any on Dead Tony, actually,
Yeah, me
because
either.
I refuse.
Yeah. I took
I mean-
we took the same stance on Dead Tony.
Pretty much. But I'd be curious, as far as the free-to-play players, or light spenders, what they do as far as the dark promos. Do they hoard them up, or are they just kind of,
Yeah, horse.
yeah, I got some and go from there?
Yeah, so Samjus.
Yeah, I hoard them. So like I wait for the 10, 30, 50 for the single reds, and I build them up that way, and just try to get everyone to at least 5 red stars when it comes to these legendaries, and then one at a time for 6, and then we'll go from there, right? It's a process. But I will agree, the one thing they cannot do, they can't put Zim as a red star. I mean, as a dark promo. Like, it needs to be these like scourge, like these unattainable, not unattainable, but these like legendaries. But do you add? Obviously, Apocalypse will be. I understand why Doom is and Dormammu is because they're dark dimension characters.
Yeah.
But who else are they going to add to this? Are they going to add all these new legendaries to the dark promo credits? I don't know.
Yeah, so for me, I personally find that terrifying. I'm terrified that I never know if a character is going to be dark promo or not. MartMart, what about you?
Well, first off, I want to thank MobileGamer for being there and being the guy that said you don't have to get it the first time around. That made my transition from spending way too much money to spending no money extremely, extremely easy, which is something I had to do. I really had to cut back on the spending. And going with my baby account now, which is around 6 million, it's a lot more enjoyable, not having to spend that money and wondering where you're going to get that money from. And it's a lot more enjoyable now. As far as the dark promos, like I said, I hoard. I don't know how many I've got right now on my account, but I know I've got quite a few sitting back there just waiting for the right character to pop up in rotation to spend them on.
Awesome. And Boomer?
So I guess I look at it from this point of view as that red stars is a progression system, and dark promoted credits are just the next part of that progression system. So like if we look at like, and I'll give you an example, we look at like a purple gear, like we're done with purple gear, right? We're not worried about purple gear. We're not worried about orange gear. Now we're worried about teal gear. Now what I see happening, and not for me, is that some players are done with the red star system. They literally have 70, 80, 90% of their roster at 7 reds. I know there's players out there that have like large chunks of their rosters at 7 red. Not me, but they're done with this system. And so Marvel Strike Force can't have a system where players are done. They need to have the next system ready to go to keep the spending going, because the cardinal sin of mobile games is letting the Krakens get bored with nothing left to buy. There always needs something to spend. So I just see this like, you know, we're you know, like Red Star system is at this stage where it's coming to a close, the same way that maybe orange gear is coming to a close. There's still some orange gear that is scarce, but it's towards its end, right? Where there's gonna have to be something else, and dark promotion credits is a part of that, and then I suspect that there's going to be something beyond that. I feel like we're just on the verge of a new progression system, and I don't know what that's going to be or how that's going to look, but I feel like it's just around the corner.
Well, so about that, like how many Tadanos are there out in the gaming community? Like, is that like a far more common thing than I think it is? Because I look at Marvel Strike Force, and I would think that the Marvel IP would draw in those types of characters on a relatively extreme level in comparison to other games. But you've got your Tadanos, you've got your Batwalks, you've got Zubins and so forth that are up there with essentially nothing left to do except open up that new character. But like is that really a thing? And not just is that really a thing, but like did Scourges, which we agree is a really good legendary release method, did Scourges amplify that? Because now you've got a lot of people that are investing in way more teams on a much higher rate than they were previously.
I don't know the answer to that question specifically, but I got just something that I'll share that baffles me is you can go into the game and you can look at what ranking your collection score is in the world, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a veteran player that spends $300 to $400 a month. And 6 months ago, I was ranked about 400 in the world, and now I'm about 520. That means 100 people passed me up in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
There's 100 people coming from somewhere and I don't know where. I mean, I thought that the Krakens were quitting or they're leaving or the counts are changing hands. I don't know, but 100 people passed me up. I mean, I'm
Wow.
spending a certain amount a month, right? And 100
Yeah.
people passed me up in the last 6 months. So there are people out there spending. There is some sort of growth, and you can take whatever those numbers mean. I don't know, but that is what it is. I mean, they're definitely. I play in an alliance full of heavy spenders with some of the players. I engage with the players that you mentioned in Cosmic Crucible and Alliance
Yeah.
War. Every week, and so
Yeah.
there are a lot of people like that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then, so sort of the last thing about Legendary that I wanted to touch on with all you guys is the ability to buy new Legendary characters. I've so when this first happened, I was like, why in the world would they sell Legendary characters? And then I sort of went to the thought process of, well, why don't they sell all legendary characters months and months and months after they come out? Like I was sort of to the point where I don't know that I care, quite frankly. And I think I'm in the minority. I think most people are really upset about them selling legendary characters because there is an earning perspective, but I don't think I care. That's just my perspective. As long as it's not happening, like as long as I get to play with my toy after I unlock it for way longer than people that can buy it, I'm sort of okay with it. But that's my perspective. MartMart?
I frankly don't care if they sell them or not.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that there are people that buy them or will buy them, or they obviously get them a lot earlier than I do, because that way I can learn from their mistakes how to get them and what to do with them once I do get them.
Yeah. Sesi?
It's fucking garbage.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think you should sell a legendary character.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, okay, you're selling the teams to get the legendary character, right?
Yeah.
But as far as selling the actual shards for the characters, I think it's just stupid garbage. I'm sure it makes them a ton of money, because I know I could do with 20 AA shards right now, and I'd probably be tempted to do it, but I still think it's garbage.
All right. Samjus?
That is a fair point. I think you can sell them at a certain point, right? So now let's say 8 Scourges have gone by. That there's a certain point, like, okay, there's new characters. Well, will there be Scourges at that point where like they can do them weekly or whatever? I don't know how that's gonna work.
Yeah.
But if somebody wants to buy them later on, whatever, I don't care. And to the point too, like even if they do it now, that helps me out when I'm doing Scourges, because then all the spenders and tryhards are going to be out of my way to probably get better stars in my first run.
That's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a real thing, but I understand,
Yeah.
like they're trying to make money. I just think they're ruining their own product if they sell them day one.
Yeah. Agreed. Boomer?
So monetization of legendary characters in Galaxy of Heroes Marvel Strike Forces was always like a no-no. And so when I initially saw it, this new idea, it felt like a desperate measure on Scopely's part. Like they were just desperate for revenue. And for me, it cheapened the experience of the Scourge events. I feel that the Scourge events and getting a legendary character should be challenging. I feel like it should be hard, and I feel like it should be earned. And for someone to swipe their credit card and not have to restart Node 5 in the Morgan Le Fay event 19,000 times like I do, I'm a little salty about that. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they should earn it also. And if for them just to spend money on it, it just feels like it cheapened my experience, and it feels desperate from Scopely to actually try to monetize that way. But I guess what other people do doesn't really affect me, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but that's just my gut reaction to the experience.
It's fair. I mean, I think there's a lot of different perspectives, and that's why I wanted to have the discussion. And I want to thank all of y'all for joining me today on this week's Let's Talk About It. So obviously the five of us are well invested into this game, whether that's time, money, or both. So we're all sort of here for the long haul. But if you had to do it all over again, would you have chose this game or something else? Sesi?
Mario Kart, way cheaper.
I still play with my Robinson.
MartMart?
Well, I'm an old Sluggo player. In fact, some of the people I'm in alliance with now, my alliance, Model Strike Force, I was with them 8 years ago in Sluggo, and I think that's why I first saw MobileGamer was back then during that, and kind of followed him over to this, and followed the whole group over to this the first week of Marvel Strike Force. So I think I'll be here forever until the game shuts down.
Samjus, what about you?
So, Mart, you can blame Boomer for all your problems. Is that what I heard?
Yes,
Okay.
blame Boomer. You heard it here.
No, this was a bedtime game that turned wrong. The addiction took over, you know.
Yeah.
The wife doesn't like it, but she still loves me.
Yeah. It's sort of the reverse. It's cheaper to keep him. Is basically
Yeah,
what
exactly it. Yeah.
Mobile Gamer, what about you?
Oh, I love the game. Wouldn't have any other way. And I think that also is the reason why I'm so passionate and critical of the game. Is and when I see things not going in a good direction, I'm angry, right? Because I love the game, and I feel like when things are going bad, I don't care. That's a problem. That's when apathy is set in, and people that don't like the game and people that are quitting the game are not the types to complain. It's the people that love the game that complain. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And like I said, I appreciate each and every single one of you. And Mobile Gamer, again, just want to sort of sign off as a bit of a fanboy. I absolutely love and freaking adore you, man. I think, like I said before at the beginning of this, I think you're one of the most entertaining humans on the planet, definitely on Twitch. And I'm thankful that I've gotten to the point where I get to call you and your beautiful wife friends of mine, and I'm very, very appreciative of having you in my gaming world and in my personal life.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Thank you.
Oh, I got him to blush. All right, so that's it for Let's Talk About It. Remember that you are pretty, you are smart, you are special, and don't forget to like and subscribe, or whatever the fuck I'm supposed to say now. All right, bye, y'all. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I was supposed to say that at the beginning.
Like and subscribe is always at the end.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Whatever the fuck you guys want to do.
Hey, I dropped one F-bomb. It's fine.